Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. So today I am going to put together a funeral spray for a funeral service that is in the morning. So we're starting out with an Oasis cage. It's actually called an easel mate, and it's by Ludwig, and so it's just another floral foam company. This is a cage that has a plastic backing, and it has the cage on the front. It holds our floral foam onto a stand. It has two little holes, one up at the top. Actually, it has several holes, one at the top, three at the top, and three at the bottom. We hang it by the center hole, and then we zip tie it all the way around. So it's always important. I'm hanging it on a stand. Callie, how tall is this stand? 66 inches?
Is it a large?
It's a large. So this is a 66-inch stand. I am going to take zip ties. These are just handy dandy white zip ties. You pick them up at the any of the hardware stores you can pick them up at. We like to buy them in bulk, so we get about 1,000 zip ties at a time. I'm just going to take that zip tie, and I ran it through the same hole that's hooked onto the stand. And then there are 3 holes at the bottom. I'm going to take it and zip tie through each of the corner holes there. Now, the reason you want to zip tie it in 3 different places is you don't need this stand to go anywhere. You don't want the flowers to fall off this stand. It's very important. Okay, so it is zip tied in place. I am going to take my scissors, and I am going to go ahead and cut the tabs off those zip ties. Go ahead and cut those off. It just looks nice, okay? Next, what I'm going to do with this stand is I'm going to start out with its ribbon. I'm going to tie the bow first, and they wanted maroon ribbon. Now, the reason I'll just show you. I like to put the ribbon in first and arrange the flowers around the bow. And the reason I do that is because I don't want it to look like there is a bow on top of a gift. And if you put all your flowers in and then add your bow, it doesn't look like it's integrated into the arrangement. It looks like there's a bow placed on top of a gift. And so that's why I like to do my bow first. Now, you're going to notice that I am not going to put streamers on this bow yet. And the reason is long streamers tend to get wet. So when my floral foam drips, it's going to drip down on the streamers, and then it messes up the streamers. So I like to wait and put my streamers in the arrangement at the very end after all of my flowers are in place and it's completely finished. So I have tied my bow. I'm just holding it in my hand. I'm going to take a floral wire, and I'm going to run it right through the center of that ribbon, and I'm going to pull it tight and just twist. Then I'm going to take and fluff my bow. So I like to run my thumb right there through the center of the loop, and I'm holding that tight, and I'm just pulling those loops and fluffing that bow. There's our pretty maroon bow. I'm going to attach it to a Koei wood pick, and I'm just taking and wrapping that wire right to that wood pick. This is a 6-inch wood pick. It does a great job holding bows in place. Okay, so there is my bow. There's my little pick. I'm going to stick it right into that floral foam, about in the middle. Middle is good. Okay, I'm going to grab a bucket and stick it underneath. So it's just a little black bucket. I'm sticking it right up underneath that stand. Now the reason I'm doing that is because every time I insert flowers into the floral foam, it's going to drip. And so if I put a bucket underneath my stand, it is going to catch the water. So that's always, it saves me a step of cleaning up. I'm going to start out with my lined flower. So the lined flower I'm going to start with is Green Bells of Ireland. Pretty green bells. Okay. I'm going to take them and lay them on my design table over here. I've got my handy dandy floral knife. I'm going to pinch the tip out of that bell, cut that stem at an angle, and I'm going to start out with my top flower. Okay, there's my top flower. And then I'm going to take a second flower, pinch that tip out, and it is going to be my bottom flower. Now, when placing your flowers into your floral foam, I'm going to back this camera up so that you might be able to see my flowers a little bit better. There we go. So the reason I like to put one flower at the top and one flower at the bottom is it just kind of shows me my shape, okay? And then I'm going to come in all the way around. Now, when you are sticking these flowers into this floral foam, stick it in very deep, okay? Because the flowers, if they're not stuck in deep enough, they could work their way out of the foam when they're delivered, okay? So I'm taking my flower, cutting that stem at an angle, and I'm just pushing it right into that floral foam. Now, when using floral foam, you want to be sure that you place your flower in right where you want it, and don't pull out and put it in and pull it out and put it in. The more you pull out and put in, the more likely you're going to tear up the floral foam. So always be careful doing that, okay? Next, we're going to come in with some white larkspur. And I am just placing these flowers right into that floral foam. Now, I am going to add the greenery at the very end, so don't worry, it won't be as sparse once I start adding the greenery. All right, so there is our white larkspur. Here are a couple of just buds from the larkspur, so I'm just going to take those and tuck those right in. I love buds. From any flower, I like to use the bud also. Don't waste them. Go ahead and use those. All right, our next flower is going to be a white hydrangea, and I've got several of these. So these are going to fill up some of this space in this arrangement. I'm going to grab some Quick Dip real quick. So Quick Dip is just a liquid that we use to dip flowers in. It is a hydrating solution, and it just helps to keep the heads of these hydrangeas hydrated. I'm going to take that hydrangea, I cut it at an angle, and I am dipping it in the Quick Dip for about 7 seconds. And then you place your flower into your floral foam. Go ahead and remove any of that foliage off of that stem. And the reason you do that is so that the water will go directly to the flower instead of to the foliage first, okay? Take that knife, cut that at an angle, dip it in the Quick Dip. Hydrangeas are very water-loving flowers, and so that's why you always want to make sure it is extra hydrated. And so that's the reason we take this extra step, to be sure that it will stay hydrated. All right, so next what we're going to do is we are going to come in with some daisies. So we have some pretty white daisies that we're going to use. So I'm going to strip that greenery. All right, there's our stems of daisies. So we took those and just kind of filled in some of our space. Next, we're going to come in with some alstroemeria lilies. So we have long-lasting white astros, some pretty white astros. All right, so there's white astros tucked in. Next, we're gonna come in with some red roses. So these are heart roses. These are red heart roses, just pretty red. So they wanted the maroon. So maroon and white was the color of the standing spray. So I always think that the hearts are a perfect maroon color. Now I have already pre-wired each of these roses. So I could guarantee that they were gonna stay firm and pretty. So I'm just taking my floral knife. I'm removing any of the thorns because they bite is the main reason for removing the thorns. It's not gonna keep the life longer or anything like that, but it's gonna save my fingers. So I just go ahead and remove any of the thorns. And I like to use a knife to remove the thorns because it doesn't ruin the stems. I don't love the metal thorn strippers, you know, the stem strippers, because it bites into that stem so badly, and so I don't like to tear up that stem. If you tear up the stem, then it's hard for the flower to drink, all the things, and so I try to do my best not to tear up that stem too badly. So I just take my knife and just pull that thorn right off. Hypericum berries, pretty hypericum berries added in. We're going to use the hypericum berries as a filler flower. And what we did was, these didn't come as maroon as we would prefer. I just took some Design Master paint and we popped them with a little more maroon. Broke a little daisy.
I'm going to print off the receipt.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so there's our hypericum berries added to the spray. The last flower we're going to use are these beautiful white oriental lilies. So really pretty white oriental lilies. Okay, so our lilies are in place. So all of our flowers are in place. Next, we're going to add our greenery. So I chose a few different types of greenery. I chose jade. Jade is going to back the arrangement. It's going to give us the fullness we need on the back. And then I got cast iron plant or aspidistra, and then some aurelia, some pretty aurelia. So I'm going to start out using our jade. Now the reason I have decided to start adding my flowers first before I put my greenery is what I have found is I don't use nearly as much foliage when I do the flowers first and the foliage last. And so that saves us money. We can put more money into our florals than into our greenery. And so that's the reason I have started adding the foliage. I want to show you a quick trick that I like to use. This is called Green Glow. Green Glow is just a plant shine, and I like to pop that foliage with a little bit of Green Glow. And what it's going to do is just shine up that foliage and make it pretty. So I'm going to take my individual stem of jade, and I am just going to go all the way around the standing spray. Now I will tell you, it's not as easy to add the foliage last, but I have found that I make a prettier arrangement when I add the foliage last. And I never knew it because I never really tried it. I think because it was it's not easy to add the foliage last in my personal opinion. And so I think that's the reason I never did that. But it sure does make a prettier arrangement. Thank you, Owen. Thank you. All right, so our jade is in place. Next, we're going to come in with our aspidistra leaves. So our aspidistra is almost kind of linear foliage, just a really pretty broad type leaf. Spray that with some green glow. We're just going to add those pretty leaves right into our piece. Okay, so there's our aspidistra leaves tucked in. Next we're going to tuck in a few of these pretty aurelia leaves. So we've got large aurelia leaves. Poor Daisy's getting beat up. Every time I touch it, I pop a little flower. All right, last we're going to add a little bit of wax flower, and then I'm going to show you how to add the streamers. So this is white wax, just a pretty white wax flower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thumb, I'm just going to pop that stem, and I am going to just tuck a little bit of wax down deep into the arrangement. Now what this is doing is it's adding color to any of the dark spots. So like it seems like a little empty spot there. So you're just going to stand back and look at your arrangement and see where it looks like there's an empty spot. And just tuck a little bit of that filler flower into that empty spot. Like it looks dark here. So I'm just going to take a small piece of that wax flower, tuck that right in. Okay, we have just a little more. I'm going to go ahead and use it. The last thing I'm going to show you is how to add your streamers. Now, because this is not going to be picked up until in the morning, I like to add my streamers last. Because what's going to happen is it's going to go in a cooler. So if you put those streamers into this arrangement, those streamers are going to go straight. And they're not going to be pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to add the streamers last. And they can just be pulled out of the arrangement and placed on the counter until tomorrow. And then tomorrow when we pull the whole arrangement out of the cooler, we can add our streamers back to the arrangement. But let me show you, it is so very simple. So I'm just going to take a long length of ribbon and I'm going to cut it. So I just took a long length of ribbon, okay? I'm going to take that ribbon and in the center, I'm going to gather it together. Just like that. I'm going to take a wood pick, just a simple wood pick, and I am going to attach that piece of ribbon to my wood pick, okay? So just like that. Okay, so to finish this spray, I have just taken my streamers, added them to a pick, and I'm going to take that pick and just push it right in up underneath my bow. And then I'm going to separate my streamers, kind of tuck them into the flower arrangement. And there you have a finished standing spray. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me this afternoon. If you have any questions about how I put this together or how we do anything here at our flower shop, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm so happy to answer. If you do me a great big favor, if you have not already subscribed to our channel, hit that little subscribe button down below. And if you'll hit that little bell, it'll give you notifications for when we have a new video. Hope you have a great day. Thank you.